Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I want to say a big thank you to Olive Oils from Spain for bringing us all together for this session. Olive Oils from Spain, origin does matter. I'm happy to introduce Nicole Jolly. She has been a journalist for the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others, and she's the host of True Food TV, a YouTube channel dedicated to understanding the origins of our food. Joining her is Seamus Mullen, an award-winning New York chef, restaurateur, and cookbook author known for his inventive yet approachable Spanish cuisine. Thank you both for joining us today.
Hello, thank you.
Hi. Thank us.
Hey, Seamus. So I thought we could start with...
Hi, Nicole.
Hey. I thought we could start with some of the basics that I think both of you and I agree aren't basics that are widely known and hopefully will be soon. And that is with the very idea that virgin olive oil is actually a fresh fruit juice, right? It's the only major edible oil, right? Extracted from the fruit rather than the seed, which is probably not something that people think about. And in terms of quality and freshness, that really means something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually have a little bit here that you can see for tasting.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And smelling. And if you warm it up a little bit in your hand like this and smell it just like you would with wine, you can get all of the different notes that come through. Things that people often talk about are you can get lemon and grass and all sorts of, a little bit of white pepper, some great and different notes that you get through olive oil. But yeah, olive oil is actually, it's the fruit of the, excuse me, it's the juice of the fruit. So it's not, a lot of people think it's the pit that's been crushed to create the oil. But in fact, it's one of the oldest cooking oils around. It's been used in the Mediterranean for thousands of years. And literally extra virgin olive oil is simply olive, freshly harvested, ground, extracted, and filtered, and that's your olive oil. That's all there is to it. So there are a lot of myths around olive oil, and there's a lot of confusion around the nomenclature with olive oil, particularly here in the United States. But in actuality, extra virgin olive oil, quote unquote, cold pressed, which is kind of a bit of a misnomer because, well, most oil is not actually pressed anymore. Extracted uses is that no heat is added in the process. Well, for it to be extra virgin, it has to be extracted in cold. There's no heat added to it. Heat would be used to refine oil from inferior fruit or oil that's gone rancid. So extra virgin and cold pressed are synonymous.
Right. So when it says it on the label, basically all extra virgin is technically cold pressed. And we can talk about the sort of technical elements of how it's not really pressed anymore. A centrifuge is used in just a little bit. But I want to just introduce Spain in the world of olive oil. And I think for all of you joining us today, I think you'll know where I'm going with this. But I think if I stopped anybody on the street and asked them who's the major producer of olive oil in the world, most people would say Italy, but it's actually Spain. So like 1 in every 2 bottles of olive oil consumed in the world is actually Spanish olive oil. And I'm not sure that people know that. So
yeah, no, most people don't.
Yeah. So,
and what's happened is that Italy has done a great job of marketing Italian olive oil, particularly in the United States. It has helped that Italy has had a built-in network of marketeers here going back over 100 years because there's been a very large Italian-American population. But Spain is the largest producer of olive oil in the world. They have the largest variety of, the largest number of varietals in the world. And Spanish olive oil is really, really unique. It has one of the largest growing seasons in the world, which means that you have a larger amazing terroir, and you and I have both been there. We spent a lot of time in Spain. I lived there for a number of years, and we've both been fortunate enough to see the harvest. And when you participate in the harvest, it's really remarkable just how essential this this thing that in the United States we kind of take for granted as being a cooking oil. It's really an ingredient, and that's something that I absolutely love about olive oil.
Yes, and I want to get to that very quickly. Before we leave the idea of production, I think one eye-opening thing for me when I was there witnessing the harvest is how sort of family based it is. You know, there are something like 300,000 families that are producing olive oil, and even though a lot of the olive oil comes through cooperatives, it really is small family farms that are raising these olives and super passionate about the quality of those olives and what the final product is made into. So we have, you know, everything from like boutique brands to, you know, the larger, more sort of commodity style olive oil. But at the heart of it all, it is still like very much like a family practice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a really amazing routine to this that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, where folks kind of get together to participate in the harvest as a community, and you fill up your stores of olive oil for the year. So the harvest is starting more or less right now. It goes from the fall around November through until January, and the oil will change through the harvest as well. So the first press is going to be a little bit spicier. It's going to be fresher, and it's usually what's prized as kind of the better quality finishing oil. And then as the harvest goes on, the oil becomes a little bit not quite as pronounced in flavor, a little bit more mild, but then tends to last a little bit longer. And so that's a better cooking oil that you might look for. But I love the idea of community coming together and really being this one moment when you are collecting your oil that you'll use throughout the course of the year. And it's a very special sort of
absolutely. And even though there's this long heritage, it's also like surprisingly modern. When I went into mills, I was just stunned at how sort of highly technological the actual milling, or well, it's actually milling, we'll say pressing, it's not pressed anymore. Can you give us a quick run through of the process when the olives come in, sort of take us through how the oil is made?
Yeah. So to be true extra virgin olive oil, the fruit needs to be pressed within 24 hours of being harvested. And if the fruit needs to be handled very gently as well, because if it's bruised or damaged, it becomes oxidized, and that will begin to cause the rancidity in the oil and an inferior quality oil. So the harvesting process has to be really delicate, whether that means it's being caught in nets or with very, very high-tech tractors that drive over the trees with little rubber fingers that just kind of gently vibrate the trees so that the fruit is caught in nets. And then it's taken immediately into the mill, where it goes through a sorting mechanism, which is all mechanized. It's all automated. So a conveyor belt that will sort out twigs and leaves and stems and things like that, and then sort of gently shakes and sifts the olives back and forth. And then the olives go into a grinding mechanism that gently kind of grinds up the fruit a little bit, and then into these gigantic centrifuges that look like they're nuclear accelerators. They're these long tubes that spin the pulp, and what comes out on the outside is juice. And that juice is the thing that we know as cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. Of course, it needs to have a free acidity level of less than 0.8 to be qualified as extra virgin olive oil. And it has to be pressed within 24 hours of harvest. And that's how you end up with this beautiful golden green hued, wonderful oil that has so much flavor and is ripe with antioxidants, extremely healthy. And as I mentioned before, it's so much more than just a cooking medium, but it's rather this ingredient in cooking. And I had, if I can just share one really quick anecdote. When I was training in Spain as a cook, one of my mentors asked me to cook a piece of fish. And so I thought I would impress him with my New York skills and everything I knew how to do. So I took a beautiful piece of lutemer, and I put it into a pan with some butter and thyme and garlic, and I started cooking it and basting it with butter. And he kind of sat there and looked at me like this, like I was crazy. And then he said, if I wanted my fish to taste like butter, I would just eat butter. In Spain, let me show you how we cook fish. And he took a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and he put it on the skin of the fish, just enough, put it on the plancha, and then he put a little more oil on top of it. And what he told me, and what I learned from this, he said, in France, you have the mother sauces. In Spain, we have olive oil. And we finished the dish with a different oil than we had cooked the dish with. And this, what we think of in the United States is like cooking fat is we want it to be neutral. It's just something to keep the vegetables or the protein from sticking to the grill. In Spanish cuisine and in other parts of the Mediterranean as well, but particularly in Spanish cuisine, this becomes an essential ingredient in the dish that you're making. And the choice you make around the olive oil will impact how the dish tastes. And that's something that I've really come to love about olive oil. And I mean, without this, I might as well just give up. I can't cook without this. This is such a fundamental part of what I do. So I highly encourage people, as they're getting to know olive oil and learning more about it, to really view it as sort of this secret, the secret weapon in their arsenal of cooking that will elevate everything that they're doing. Not only elevate the flavor of what they do, but also elevate the health benefits.
And very quickly, we have maybe 2 minutes left. There are something like 200 different varieties of olives that grow in Spain alone. And I know what was a revelation for me is that, the world of extra virgin can very much be like the world of wine, with very different flavors, very different fragrances coming from each single varietal olive oil. And it enhances the food in a completely different way, depending on the olive oil that you use, right? Oh, did I lose you? I don't know if he's frozen. Oh, you're back, Seamus. Okay. Can you hear me, Seamus? All right, I'm just gonna roll with it until. Oh, that's okay. Okay,
sorry.
Okay, maybe not. All right, I will continue. If Seamus joins us again, that will be fantastic. But I will just wrap up by saying, because extra virgin is a fresh fruit juice, if you will, quality and freshness matters, storage matters. A great tip is to think of the Spanish word for hello, hola, which is the 4 major factors that affect the quality of your oil. So H, heat, O, oxygen, L, light, and A, age. So you don't want to let your extra virgin get old. You don't want to keep your extra virgin in the light. And, oh, Seamus, are you back? Can you hear me? And oxygen, the more that oxygen, extra virgin is exposed to oxygen, the quicker it will degrade. The same with heat. So Seamus, if you can hear me, I was just taking them through the sort of acronym of HOLA about the kind of 4 ways to keep your extra virgin fresh. We might be out of time, but I see there's one question that maybe we can hit, and if Seamus can hear, this one is coming from maybe Sobia. It says, you mentioned that the cooking olive oil is different than finishing oil. What is the difference? Seamus, can you hear? I don't think so. I don't think Seamus can. But I think one thing that I would say to that, oh, great. Okay, Seamus is going to, I think Seamus is typing away. He is going to answer your question. We'll leave it to the chef. I hear him typing away.
Hi.
Oh, I think we're out of time, but he'll answer you.
I apologize, Seamus. I am not sure if you can hear us or not, but Nicole, you did great. Thank you so much. Seamus, if you could answer that question in the chat. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, everyone. Definitely Seamus and Nicole for joining us today. And a big thank you to Olive Oils from Spain for bringing us all together for this session. Be sure to check out the Olive Oils from Spain Expo booth later today and throughout the program to find out more information. But for now, we're going to head over in just a moment to our breakout sessions, which will go back to the breakout sessions tab. So Seamus, thank you again. Nicole, thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys soon in person sometime in the near future. Okay, thank you.